Welcome to the show. Now please strap in for the truth and remember the words of the great Tom Cruise.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Now welcome to Off Topic on Porn.
All right, Top family, we're back. And we are back with another, well, we're going to have some fun tonight, or today, or this afternoon, wherever this may find you, we're going to have some fun. So tonight, or today, or this evening, we have James and Russell with me today. Guys, how are you? It's good to be back. Guys, this is where you talk.
Thanks. We're doing great, thanks.
Use the microphones, gentlemen. Speaking to
You
the
want us to
microphones.
talk at the same time? Is that why you asked that way?
Look, this is going to be, look, it's already starting out fun, but look, let's get right to it. The news has been interesting and it's been fun. And so we were actually talking before, so I'm going to jump right into this because it's interesting. There's been a lot of media circus around the blogosphere everywhere about Kristi Noem, and I don't even know if I'm saying her name right. And so you can put it in the comments if I'm not. Okay, get me there. That's fine. But here's the thing. So first, we're going to start with this. Was she actually fired? Because everybody's saying she was fired, and I'm not sure she was. But here's what I want you guys to tell me. Was she actually fired? And last week, James went first. So Russell, tell me, in your opinion, because there's a lot of clickbait going around, was Kristi Noem fired? And then, James, you can respond to Russell's, was she fired? But go ahead, Russell. Tell us what's going on.
Well, it's one of two things. She either was or she wasn't.
Look at that. Russell's covered it very well there, folks. You heard it here first.
It's as far as I know, and I'll just throw the disclaimer out there that I haven't seen everything out there, but I have been fairly prolific in looking at what the news media says and what has been going on with some podcasters I watched throughout the course of the week. And it just giving the sterilized version of it, it looks like she was removed from a position. It is definitely because there was some turbulence that happened behind her, and probably that precipitated it. But I'm just not aware that Trump or the Trump administration actually has labeled it as a firing. It seems to me like it is the public media in its different iterations that is doing that. So, and then she was instated into another position that, frankly, I don't have a great deal of knowledge about, at least not yet. We'll see what pans out from that. So, and it's kind of here's what we know: she was removed from the position, and she's not there anymore, and she's in a different one, and somebody else is now in the position. So whether that happened by firing and rehiring in another position, whether that happened by reallocation, a lateral transfer, or even if it ends up being some kind of promotion. We know that we have a new Secretary of Homeland Security right now.
Okay. Well, we have a nominee because he still has.
Well, that's right.
Senator
Thanks,
Mark
that's
Wayne
exactly
Mullen.
right. He's not in
Yeah,
yet. Yeah, he's not in yet.
But James, let me ask you a question.
We will have a new one.
So James, let me ask you a question on Russ to respond to that. So when you get removed from a position and the way that she was based on the circumstances, is that a firing? Is it a demotion? Tell me, because I think your opinion is a little different. Did she?
Yeah, because,
go ahead.
Yeah, okay. And just to jump in with that one, here's the situation. I think she's being blamed for all the problems in Washington with the Department of Homeland Security. Remember, this is the same agency weeks ago that's been under fire, protests, the people in Minneapolis. We have the Good shootings, Renee Good and Alex Pretty. These two individuals were killed, and there were protests in Minneapolis and throughout Minnesota relating to that. And there were calls to get Kristi Noem fired. And then all of a sudden, we have this controversy over a $220 million contract and ad campaign that some say, hey, this kind of looks like this is a promotional campaign for her. Remember, she's an elected official. She was one prior to being named Secretary of Homeland Security. She was the governor of South Dakota. Yeah, don't get all of our wonderful fans in South Dakota. Please don't send me hate mail.
Hey, you can comment. You can email us at otopnow@gmail.com, and we will forward all of your your email, all those
Hate mail.
hateful emails to James about the South Dakota people.
South Dakota.
We love you, and we'll forward them to James.
Exactly. But here's the situation. She had this high-ranking cabinet position, and now she's not. She's special envoy to the Shield of the Americas. It was a newly created position just for her. And
Okay,
so I
do
don't
me a
know
favor.
how
Say
now
that mouthful again.
She's a special envoy to the Shield of the Americas.
Oh, yeah.
She's working for Shield. She's a Marvel character now.
Seriously. Okay, I want that title because I think there's a cool uniform, and you better be able to like fly and have super mutant powers because that sounds awesome. Next they're gonna call her like Captain America or something. Really?
No, you can't.
Seriously,
Can't be Captain America.
you can't. But I'm just, you know what I'm saying. I mean, that
You already
title,
have one.
that title just sounds like, hey, look, we need to come up with something for you. Okay, yeah, go ahead, keep going, James.
Yeah, and the thing is, the bottom line is she was removed from this
Yeah.
position. I think it's a playbook out of Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince. I was just saying in the pre-production meeting
Yeah.
that you assign someone to do all your dirty work, and then when the public hates that person, you off them, you kill them. And I think that's what Donald Trump did. I'm not saying it's a good move, bad move, whatever, but the bottom line is I think she was scapegoated because for a time at this point onward, none of the woke media, the left politicians can say, we hate this person. It's like, okay, well, she's gone.
Right.
You can be satisfied and chomp on something else while Donald Trump does all these other moves.
So
it may be a smart maneuver.
Yeah, so I will say this, to the people who were shot by ICE, we all know that they were interfering with the law enforcement efforts. And
Absolutely.
there's just not a year or a decade in this country's history where you can find that law enforcement did not have the latitude to use force, even deadly force, when they were being beset upon. And so there was the same thing there. All that to say this, yeah, there was a lot of protesting, but I don't know that the Trump administration would see that as a negative. I'm sure they don't like the bad press, but you just can't stop the left from giving him bad press. They're going to do it no matter what. And so probably the nexus point, if it was one of the things that you mentioned, James, is probably the ad campaign. Although I agree with you, that's a bizarre thing to hang it all on.
Yeah.
And then if this was a disciplinary move, maybe there's stuff that none of us we don't know about because Donald Trump doesn't tell us everything, and
he tells us nothing.
Well, in a sense, yeah, he was a CEO multiple times long before he was president, and we know how corporate stuff works here. What happens behind the scenes is often not made public, and I think that's the way he handles his politics also. So anyway, yeah, there you go.
So staying with the whole, the president is a hot topic. So here's my question: the MAGA movement that he started, I didn't realize it had membership because he's kicking people out of it now. So the people that he's recently kicked out of it, evidently, are Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. So let's take these people separately, okay? One at a time. So I guess we'll start with Tucker and we'll end with Candace because Russell's favorite person is Candace Owens. So he loves Candace Owens.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm getting quite a disdain for Tucker Carlson.
Oh, so they're running neck and neck now.
He may pass her up.
Okay. Well, Tucker, evidently, he's been removed. I guess President Trump called him an idiot. He's again, both of these two, it seems, they are both part of the conspiracy theorists of the world unite, because they are. Tucker is now claiming that Zionists orchestrated the war in Iran. Tucker is okay with letting Iran enrich uranium, letting Iran kill 30,000 protesters, letting Iran sponsor organizations that kill thousands of innocent people. But we're not okay for America to strike back at that. And in his mind, it's got to be the Jews who are doing all of this.
Yeah.
So my question, gentlemen, is what Kool-Aid is he sipping? And what happened to
That's a good
Tucker Carlson?
question. Well, and I think what happened is, in his case, he bought into the lies of the lies of the enemy, the lies of Satan. Bottom line, because anti-Semitism, this is nothing new. I mean,
Sure.
people have blamed Jews for the problems of the world for thousands of years, and for him to come out now and say, Israel is the reason why we're going to war in Iran. Okay, well, here's an idea. Why not? Why now? Why not 1979 when the Islamic regime took over? That
Sure.
would be the opposite question I have. I mean, in fact, there was this former national security advisor that said that Donald Trump is not starting a war with Iran. He's finishing one. He's ending one, the one that Iran started in 1979 against us, the United States.
Sure.
So this is not a continuation. And I've said this before. Do you really wait until a country is nuclear capable and plans on striking you to act, or do you act
Sure.
now when you have the intel?
So
Apparently, some of these people think so.
Russell, I have a
Yeah,
question then,
okay.
because you're a good negotiator. You and I have had some wonderful negotiations. So my question is, where does Tucker think you can start negotiating with people whose starting point is, I want you dead and not to exist? Has he gotten to the point where he's on that side? Where?
Oh, I think he is in. My honest opinion about him is I think he's got an agenda, and he's got a calculation that he is proffering in the carrying out of this agenda, and it probably is bigger than what we're seeing. And what I mean by that is I'm not trying to make that sound conspiratorial also, but the things that he says don't make sense in light of known fact. So he is creating this, it looks like alternative reality. He's trying to voice an alternative reality that doesn't exist. The whole notion that Iran is not a threat to the United States is absolute rubbish.
Sure.
First of all, they don't have to be a nuclear threat. They've already been a threat since 1979 in one form or fashion, right? They have shown repeatedly through their own efforts and through the efforts of their proxies,
Yes.
Hezbollah, Hamas, we named them last week, right?
Sure.
We sure did.
They have shown
ISIS.
that they are perfectly willing to murder Americans wherever they can find them, and they seek to do so. One of the big concerns that some people are voicing right now, including I almost called him Tucker Carlson, is that
Right.
there might be sleeper cells here in the United States, which as if we assuage Iran, then we can keep the sleeper cells from hurting us. No, probably that strategy wouldn't work either. If they're here to do violence to us, and it's going to happen sooner or later, and we need to be prepared to respond to it. But the fact is, they have shown, and even through that show, that they are very capable of bringing harm to us. Now, that's before any rockets are fired anywhere.
Absolutely.
And so then when we talk about rockets being fired and we talk about nuclear warheads being armed, why would he assume that our intelligence is lying to everybody and that he's smarter than our intelligence? I don't know. So but I would say he is either just totally out of his bird, or he's got some other thing going on that's making him say this stuff.
Yeah.
And if there is, I don't know what that is, but yeah, go ahead, James.
Well, I was going to say the thing I agree with what you're saying with respect to Tucker Carlson. I think there's got to be some kind of financial deal in the works. Like he's trying to position himself in some media deal by demonstrating and showing that he's willing to break rank with the president.
Yeah.
Because I think it's believed that Donald Trump is on the way out. The Democrats are going to control the midterm elections. The country's going to make a major sweep to the left. And so I think he feels as though that it's time to cut ties with, with President Trump and demonstrate that, hey, I'm not a Donald Trump supporter, bootlicker. I have my own mind. I think Megyn Kelly's doing the same thing. They're trying to dissociate themselves from the Trump brand.
So you were in the media. Is this how media people would think?
Yeah.
They try to telegraph it, or they try to look ahead and say, hey, this is what might happen, and maybe I better do this to hunker down my position and make sure that
Right.
I suffer minimal casualties.
Right, because the thing is, it's just like the Don Lemon situation. He's hoping and banking by doing what he did, that he's able to get some show, that some darling from the left, they're going to say, hey, here's a multi-million-dollar contract, Don. We stand up for you. We support you. And I think Tucker Carlson's case, he's trying to make a name for himself by saying, hey, I'm not on board with Donald Trump, not on everything. I don't support him. I'm not with him. He's trying to hedge his bets.
Yeah.
Because he thinks that the country's going to turn completely on Donald Trump, and he doesn't want to be associated with a sinking ship, basically.
Yeah.
So what I hear you guys saying is it would appear, and we'll get to Candace Owens, but it would appear that Tucker Carlson is very allergic to the truth. Do we need to start a campaign with all of our OTOP followers? You guys can email us and tell us if you'd like to be a part. We'll get some EpiPens and send them to Tucker Carlson so that when he is introduced to the truth, he does not go into anaphylaxis and die. We like the Lord, value life and do not want Tucker Carlson to go into anaphylaxis when introduced to the truth.
Exactly.
And so, we can start a collection of EpiPens so that
that sounds cool.
When
we need to get him a vaccine.
Get him vaccinated so that he can make sure that when introduced to the truth, he doesn't hit that anaphylaxis and have to he's got the cure for that. So we'll start an EpiPen campaign for him or something. So
but get this, Rob. One final thing about Tucker Carlson.
Sure.
Remember, he had a huge show on Fox News.
Yeah.
He didn't have that show. He's gone. He's just a podcaster.
Right.
He's in the same boat as us.
Sure.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get a new show.
More followers, but you know what I'm saying. By the way, family, share the podcast. We'll catch up with Tucker.
That's right.
But you're right, James. You make a point.
He's trying to make a name for himself. He's trying to get his own show, probably maybe on Fox News, or he's trying to get a financial.
It sure does come across as reckless that people would do that, but I'm sure James is right.
Yeah.
People tend to be self-serving. It's human nature.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Say, can I before we move on to Candace, can I say something about the word Zionism to give us context here? Because that just keeps getting tossed around like so much salad.
If I say no, will you get mad and rant?
No, but I wonder why a Jew is telling me not to do it.
Dang it.
Right.
Go ahead. I will allow it.
Because you control the world.
You are a genius, James.
You are a Jew.
See, that's if I say no, then I'm actually controlling the world and I'm playing into Tucker's car. He'll never watch this, but he'll be like, see, the Jew's controlling it all. Go ahead.
Yeah, you control
actually, no matter how I answer, I'm controlling it. I guess that's the thing, right? I'm controlling it no matter how you make it. So here was what I'll say to you. You may continue.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me that control, deferring control to me.
See, Tucker, we can be kind.
Yes, y'all can. Okay, so Zionism, it simply comes from the word Zion, which is Mount Zion in Jerusalem. That's the hill that Jerusalem is built upon. And so because it is identified with Jews and Jews are identified with it, then if a person supports, first of all, if Jewish people support themselves and they're in Zion and they own Zion, and then it makes sense that they might be called Zionists or they might call themselves that. And I believe it was Theodore Herzl who used that word most prolifically way back when he was getting the Zionist movement started, right? And so what was it? He's not talking about Nigerians. He's not talking about the Irish. He's talking about Jews.
Right.
When he says Zionist, all right, we need a Zionist homeland. And that ended up being where they started, right? They're in the land of Israel. So now, me as a Gentile, I call myself a Zionist, and I really don't care if people think that's a bad word. They don't know what they're talking about. The word has always been a positive word, or a neutral word at least, to describe what a person is if they support the Jews' right to their homeland and support the Jewish people as well. And so that's I use that word of myself shamelessly, and I'll bet you if we ask people when they use that word, do you even know what that means? How many times do you think we would get blank stares back at us? So
yeah, that's a good point.
Okay,
so there you go. Good point. Yeah.
So there you go. The word Zionist, because Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, but especially Candace, she likes to snarl the word out like it's some kind of.
They use it as a slur. It's not a slur.
Yeah, it's like, lady,
It's
I
like
am
the
fine.
N-word.
What if I
Yeah.
went, you Catholic? You know,
Yeah,
what
I
if I
mean,
did that? You know, it's
you're
the
just
same thing.
identifying. I mean, yeah, it's an ideology, not even an ideology, it's a belief.
What are we, 5?
Yeah, I mean,
I
seriously.
mean, come on.
You red-headed person who is tall. Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Or you tall person who is brown-eyed and has a beard. Okay.
Yep.
Actually, I have blue eyes, but whatever, whatever.
Yeah, and
Okay,
I'm trying to
Candace.
depreciate you.
I guess it's used in the same way as the term Mexican. You're a Mexican.
Yeah.
Wait a second, I'm from Mexico. If someone says, "Well, wait a second, I am from Mexico," that's not an insult.
I mean, you're like,
No, it's not. It
okay.
shouldn't
It
be.
wouldn't be.
Right, it wouldn't. I mean,
Should
it
be,
shouldn't be.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
So what do
speaking
we have,
of
Rob?
speaking of Candace
Candace,
Owens,
Candace.
Russell's favorite topic, let's call it, instead of favorite person. She is, I don't know, like right now, she's just, I don't even know what to call her. We'll let you guys deal with that. But she's making some wild accusations and claims. Like she is off the reservation on some of these, I think, personally. Again, I go back to conspiracy theorists of the world unite on this. She's claiming that Chabad, there's got to be a cabal out there, and I'm not a part of it. I just want you to know. But hey, you know what I'm saying? If I could find a way to get in and at least know their plans, then I could just like maybe stock up on some toilet paper or something. She claims that Chabad is orchestrating the war in Iran. Israel was behind 9/11, and that same Chabad is digging tunnels through New York. By the way,
Trying to get you.
here's what I'm hoping, that they don't hit the subways, because that could be dangerous. And there's already tunnels in New York, by the way. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles prove that. And then
There you go.
claims that the Jews are committing genocide in Gaza. Okay, so
Well, yeah, that's an old claim. She's been
yeah, I
saying
mean,
that for
like seriously,
years.
like let's just here we go. Don't get me started on Gaza because I've been there. Russell, so here's the question, two-pronged here. Should Trump distance himself from Candace Owens? And then the next piece is, and I think you have kind of a timeline, and we'll put that in. That's down in the comment section for you. We'll pin it there so you guys can see what he's talking about. Why don't you go ahead and you take the first crack at where did Candace Owens and what caused Candace Owens to fall off of her rocker, and should then Trump go ahead and distance himself from the current Candace Owens?
Okay. So I will make this as concise as I can. Trump doesn't need to, because she's already distancing herself from him. Now, should he be willing to address it at some point if it becomes necessary to do so? Sure. But she's already made it pretty clear that I don't think she's in anybody's corner anymore. I think she's in her own corner. She went and sat in the corner, and then she's just basically supporting her own conspiracy. And it's her and the people who watch her podcast who think she brings the receipts on everything when she really doesn't. I will say that, well, you asked the question about why. I don't know. If you go back just a few years, the podcast she was doing prior to the Gaza event, where Hamas came and attacked Israel there, and on October 7th, she was really pretty much pro-Zionist, and you can see those podcasts. She was pro-Israel, and then something twisted her. I don't know what it is. I do know that between then and then what we began to see there, she did become a part of the Catholic Church. And I alluded last week that her Catholicism is a part of the problem. And this is just the truth. Historically, the Roman Catholic Church sees itself as the replacement for Israel. They see themselves, and this is in their dogma. They see themselves as the new Israel. They see the promises to Israel as now applying to the church, and particularly to the Catholic Church. And so that they are the spiritual Jews, as it were. They are spiritual Israel. And why did this happen? According to their theology, it happened because God was finished with biological Israel. And so when we hear people ask questions, and Tucker's asked this questions, or has asked this question, are the Jews of today the same as the Jews of yesterday? Part of what I think is going on there is their answer is going to be no, because no, we're the Jews. They aren't, we are.
Yeah.
Because if you understand if you understand biological sequencing, familially speaking, there's no way to sever today's Jews from yesterday's. Descendancy means something, right?
Yep.
So you have to categorically redefine for that question and the answer that they're implying to make sense. So I think that's what's going on. I think there's a lot of their theology. Now I'm going to say it again, like I did last week. There are a lot of Catholics that don't agree with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson on this stuff. And Tucker is not a professing Catholic, but he's embracing a lot of the same ideological stuff because of the tradition he does come from. But Candace Owens definitely. And so there's a lot of Catholics that don't agree with her on her stance on Israel. As a matter of fact, the Catholic Church in Vatican II, which softened up a lot of their approach to Protestant and non-Catholic churches and how they approach, these kinds of issues. They didn't change their stance as far as that, seeing themselves as today's Israel, but they are softer toward Israel. They don't take an adversarial approach to them theologically since Vatican II. So what Candace Owens is doing is she's going back to more of a Council of Trent concept era to feed what she's doing and to justify it. And this isn't anything she said. I'm throwing this in there because I understand that when she's attacking Israel and she says the things she does as a quote unquote Christian, she has to be appealing to something, and that has to be what she's appealing to. So those would be my statements. I will, one last thing. There is a young lady, podcaster. Her name is Tamara Neely, Tam. It's either ERA or ARA, I forget. And then her last name, Neely. And she has actually done an expose, a 2-episode on her podcast expose on Candace Owens just recently. And she's got a timeline that everyone needs to see. And I want to commend those 2 episodes to you as well. Maybe we can put a link under
to both of them.
It'll be in the
here
bottom.
to both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in
Because
the
I
comments.
would like to. First of all, she did a lot of work, and kudos to her. And so I want to. This is a commercial for her. I got a lot of my information from her, and so I'd like for everybody just to go there and watch this young lady. She's an up and coming conservative who's got a very successful podcast at this point. Okay, that's my statement on it, guys.
James, go ahead. You can.
Yeah, what I would say with respect to Candace Owens is this. It seems as though that and once you take a look at that timeline, you can see Candace tends to follow trends, follows the crowd. It's like, who is the real Candace Owens? And you see this in the timeline. She went from radical leftist to getting arrested, coming from a troubled home, and then becoming a darling conservative. And now she wants to distance herself from traditional conservatism by chasing some form of far-right conservatism, and she's really peddling in a lot of clickbait, unfounded conspiracy theories. The Jews aren't the real Jews; they are really Khazars, people who were required to undergo forced conversion to Judaism, who lived in the upper Northeast Asian region, Armenian region. She claims, she just doesn't claim this. Several internet conspiracy theorists claim this. The Jews in the land are not the real Jews. And of course, you have Black Hebrews. They say, no, that's exactly true. Black people in America, those are the real Jews. And everybody wants to be the real Jews and kick out the existing Jews.
Until persecution comes.
Right, exactly. Until persecution comes. And I've actually heard, not from Candace Owens, but I've heard it said that the United States has given like $290 billion to Israel since 1948. And I actually looked it up. That actually is true. But so maybe it's just financial. Maybe they want that money.
Yeah.
Maybe that's.
By the way, that's money well invested, I would say, too.
Yeah, I would agree also. Because Israel's a shield, they're the buffer for the Islamic East. You want to stop, would you rather have these countries at our doorstep firing Qassam rockets at the United States? I don't think so. So we have Israel over there with their Iron Dome to help protect the West, not just Israel, but the West.
Yeah.
And there you have it.
All right. Well, another great episode, gentlemen. My hats off to you, and my award for the week for most opinionated goes to Travis, who is not here.
Boy, that was safe.
Right.
I give it
At
to
least for
Travis,
now.
who didn't even proffer an opinion because he was not able to be with us. So we want to give a shout out to Trav. We love you. So, that way
Love
I don't
that.
have to choose. You know what? I figure if we're talking about politicians and people who are off the reservation, let's join them.
Yes.
So, but no, we please like, subscribe, hit the button, tell a friend. And if you want to get a hold of us, please, you can email us at otopnow@gmail.com. We would love to
Don't
hear
forget
from
to
you.
comment.
And don't forget to comment, because you know what?
Yes.
We'll probably comment back. So we
Yeah, we will.
love talking to you. We love hearing from you. And we will see you on the next episode. And remember, you do not always have to stay on topic. You can be off topic, but you must always, always, always be on point. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Off Topic On Point. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening today to Off Topic On Point. We want to remind you of our email address if you'd like to contact us. It's otopnow@gmail.com. That's otopnow@gmail.com. And as always, we want to leave you with this. It's okay to be off topic. Just make sure you're always on point. All right. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.